All right, you found it. It's the Monday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks on the 18th day of January 2021. Just kind of a blah Monday today. I posted on social earlier. I have a home weather station that has the capability of measuring incoming solar radiation. And today, according to my weather station, was the darkest day of January so far. We had a few days in December that were a little bit darker with a little less incoming solar radiation, but boy, it was not much today. And well, today's incoming solar radiation about 22 times less than on a sunny midsummer day, say a July sunny day. It's 22 times brighter outside than it was today. But it wasn't that cold today. It was a pretty typical day with temperatures near freezing. Anything but typical, though, on this date back in 1994. I touched on this some last week, and now we're getting into the couple of days where this cold snap, this vicious cold snap in 1994 kind of peaked on the 18th and the 19th. On the 18th, we set a record low temperature at the Youngstown Warren Airport of 18 degrees below zero, and then the following day, our coldest temperature on record. On the 19th, it hit 22 below zero. That was an amazing, amazing cold snap back in 1994. Not only have we seen nothing like that this winter, we've had very few really cold nights so far this winter. Just when you look at the first 19 days of January, our coldest temperature so far this January has been 20 degrees. That means every single low temperature has been above average so far this January. The only years that had warmer, coldest nights through the first 19 days of January were back in 1937 and 1932. Most recently, back in 2006, through the 19th, our coldest temperature was 19 degrees. So, yeah, we're in pretty rare territory here to get through the first 19 days of January, and our coldest temperature has been 20. And we're not going to see anything below 20 for a few more nights. I do have some teens in our forecast for the upcoming weekend. We might get down to 20 Friday night, and then Saturday night I think we will be down into the mid-teens. Been a long time since we've been below zero. In fact, 719 days now since we officially have registered a below zero temperature at the airport. It was January 31st, 2019. So we're pushing 2 years. We're going to easily get 2 years in the books because we're not going to drop below zero for the rest of this month. And the way February is looking, we might get through the whole winter again without a sub-zero temperature. And because the nights have just not been that cold, ice is having a hard time forming on the Great Lakes. Very little ice, even on relatively shallow Lake Erie. Now, locally in some of our lakes and rivers and creeks, yeah, there's some ice, but it's thin from what I've seen. We just can't get that real thick ice unless you get some nights that are down in the single digits like we oftentimes do in midwinter. We just are not in that kind of a pattern. We've had the flurries coming and going today. These have been fairly inconsequential, but, these will pass through from time to time, and maybe, a little candy coating here and there, maybe enough to cause a few slick spots, especially on the side roads and the bridges and overpasses if they haven't been treated. Now, during the daylight hours Tuesday, we'll be in pretty good shape. In fact, we're going to try to get a few breaks of sun Tuesday afternoon. It should be a brighter day overall than today's, slate gray overcast. That's during the day on Tuesday. Now, as we head into Tuesday evening, a pretty potent little disturbance comes down out of the Great Lakes, and this is going to instigate some snow showers, I think, several hours after sunset. This will be more towards 9, 10, 11, even past midnight. These can have some pep in their step, and then they'll kind of fade away, I think, as we head into early Wednesday morning. In fact, snowflakes should stop flying, not long after sunrise, I suspect, Wednesday morning. A benign Wednesday afternoon, and actually a brief warm-up coming our way on Thursday in the wake of that warm front. Now, when it comes to probabilities of 2 inches or more worth of snow Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, no surprise with some lake enhancement going on here that the highest probabilities are off toward north and northeast. So Lake County, Ashtabula County, Crawford County. But north of I-80, when you get into some of these blue colors, you'll get the legend up here, and you've almost got a 50-50 chance of more than 2 inches worth of snow up there. Our official forecast looks like this with, maybe 2 to 4, Geauga County, Lake County, Ashtabula, maybe far northern Trumbull, maybe far northern Mercer as well. I think for most of our television viewing area, a coating to 1 inch or 2 will be pretty common, and while this is a pretty modest accumulation, I think this can be impactful. I think this can bring some slick spots to area roadways starting late in the evening tomorrow, taking us through the overnight, and for early morning commuters on Wednesday, even though not much snow will be falling from the sky by the time a lot of people are getting up and heading off to work Wednesday morning, Some surfaces might still be slick. All right, becoming less and less impressed with this, colder pattern that we've been talking about during the second half of January. 10 days ago, this looked like a pretty impressive, nothing historic, nothing extreme, but an impressive looking cold period for the end of the month. As we get closer and closer, and this has been the theme so far this winter, cold off in the distance as you get closer to that period becomes less impressive. And so, the CPC outlook here, 8 to 14 day period, you don't see deep blues and certainly no purples on this map. We're going to have some days where it's going to be below average. We haven't had many so far this month. I think we'll have more in the coming week to 10 days than we had during the first half of the month. But, we're not talking highs in the teens or anything like that. I've got 26 in the forecast now for Wednesday, and then 26 for Saturday. That's probably the two coldest days out of the next 7. We might have a day or two next week in which we fail to get out of the 20s, but it's a pretty vanilla, pretty run-of-the-mill late January period. And, can it snow in this pattern? Sure, you bet. But it's just not looking all that cold. The problem mostly is our source region. While we have a favorable upper level pattern, in other words, there's a pretty, good looking trough that's going to dominate across the eastern U.S., our air masses are, either coming out of the Pacific, in the low levels, or if they're coming down out of Canada, the air in Canada is very mild compared to the average. So our source region has too much mild air in it. Our source regions, I should say. What we need is for Canada to cool off, but Canada is very mild compared to the average. And so even though the wind direction might be favorable coming out of Canada in the dead of winter, you'd think it would get cold. Not so much this time around. All right, thanks for watching tonight. I'll see you back here on Tuesday for more weather for Weather Geeks.